You. Have you ever seen someone so stupid that it makes you question whether you guys are the same species? Well, I have. Humans are supposed to be the smartest mammals on Earth, according to ourselves, obviously. So you'd expect critical thought and reasoning would be the foundation of our discussions. Actually, no, let's die on a hill defending a gateway drug for kids to gamble. There were a lot of, let's say, misguided people who took my previous Grow Garden video to heart. And I have to say, none of them have a good argument, or an argument at all for that matter. I mean, how can you take a video of me literally screaming at how the game touched me? Seriously. They just call me a hater, my argument's trash with no further elaboration, or they literally use the most TikTok-coded slang that makes them look corny as hell. Some of them are also just, like, in fucking denial, and others shouldn't have unrestricted internet access because they're like 9 years old, let's be honest here. Either or, let me just clear the record. Short videos don't mean I have a bad argument. I don't have to play the game for 12 hours just to understand it, and I don't have to make a longer video explaining common sense. The common sense being, if you shower kids with colorful mutations and rewards with little commitment, they're going to try their luck again, and the cycle repeats itself. TLDR, it's an RNG magnet for children. RNG equates to the theme of gambling, which is bad. Maybe my video could have been a little longer or more in depth, but for everything I don't mention, of course, there's going to be a hole in my argument that I have to address. Though, if you were to solve the argument in your head, you'd come to a resolution. That's what critical thinking is. Nobody has it anymore. Which is why I call Grow Garden a manipulative game to spread the word. And people defended it. Not even surprised at this point. These people are the problem. I explained the gambler's fallacy in that video. Definitely could have done better at it. Regardless, I don't have to explain how the saying of 99% of gamblers quit before they win big is just a bad mindset to have. YouTube video essays are redundant and overstretched. I get straight to the point and I'm not going to waste your f***ing time, so let's get moving. This video is about Roblox Lobotomites. I define Roblox Lobotomites as people who are apathetic to objectivity and bad practices. These are the type of people who defend GAG without logical reasons. These are the people who think children should be allowed to gamble because it isn't forced on the players, so what's the issue? These are the players who continue to support Roblox's every decision, even when it's at the expense of others. They're apathetic pieces of shit who see no wrong in anything unless it directly affects them. If someone complains about their favorite game being a result of greed, they're offended. It's all about themselves. Not about the safety of children running rampant on this platform. Not about the bad actors and Roblox's bad practices. Not about having standards so companies can't butt us. Think about it like this. If you really love something, you'd be honest. I love Mario Kart, but honestly, it ain't worth $80, so I'm holding off. I love my brother. He's a piece of shit. I love fighting, but the community makes me wanna. So if you love Grow a Garden as much as you really say, please just say it. Admit it. The game is predatory. Wow, crazy, right? Now rejoin the game, the shop refreshed. I have no issue if you play this game whatsoever. Keep at it. Though, just because you like something doesn't mean it's immune to criticism. That mindset is peak stupidity. When you're so selfish they can only see the perspective of yourself and not the average consumers of these games, you should really take some time to think, which they won't, let's be honest here. But if they manage, I'll give them a round of applause. It's not me being sarcastic or passive-aggressive either. I genuinely hope you guys change for the better. Self-centered people redefine stupidity. They are on the lowest plane of critical thought. Fun fact, I'm writing a comic series that involves the morality of altruism and egoism. The two main characters represent two sides of the spectrum. If you don't know what those terms mean, altruism is the belief or practice of selfless concern for the well-being of others. Basically, you're a selfless hero. And egoism, or egotism as it's called, is the opposite. It's the practice of thinking about oneself excessively because of an undue sense of self-importance. The main character, Xernos, is an egoist. He believes that altruism doesn't exist and everyone does everything for themselves and only themselves, whether they think so or not. His rival, Arcane, on the other hand, is selfless. He's the hero. He's the one willing to give up his life for others. Altruistic. So, let's take a closer look at the traits Xernos has in particular. He's close-minded, believes that everyone acts in self-interest. He's spiteful, hateful, defensive about his twisted beliefs. So he doesn't get along very well with his rival. Xernos represents what a lot of these lobotomites act like. A person who keeps himself contained. They indulge in hatred and feel attacked when the game is being criticized. Their worldview crumbles similar to how Xernos himself falls deeper into the pit of egoism over the course of the story. When he interacts with Arcane, he hates him for being against for what he stands for. Xernos doesn't care, but Arcane does. Being apathetic won't help anyone but yourself. If anything, it's hurting yourself. It's a defense mechanism, a toxic one. And that's the reality of stupidity. Being stupid is a choice. Xernos himself is an intelligent character, but he falls into the trap of admittedly stupid beliefs. Now, back onto topic. When people defend these blatant manipulation tactics in video games that get people addicted to gambling, they become apathetic all of a sudden. Grow Garden isn't harmful to me, so this guy's complaining about nothing. Gambling is just a way for developers to make money. Stop complaining. You're just jealous of developer success. It's a chill game. Why are you getting mad about it? Notice a pattern with all of these statements. They are all dismissive. They don't address the problem. They avoid talking about it because they want to avoid things they can't properly accept or reason against. These people hate what we stand for. I want to fight for better games on this platform. We're not trying to fight you. We're fighting the predatory practices that plague Roblox. And although some of us may be acting in self-interest to hate on Grow Garden, that doesn't matter. Because how come you can be selfish and mad when someone else wants better games? The irony is off the charts with that one. The people who want better games are allowed to be just as mad. And that isn't to justify or say that people who absolutely despise Grow Garden are in the right either. Nobody should be fighting over this topic regardless. We should be having a discussion with words, with critical thought. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, we have the so-called heroes, Arcane's parallel, the ones who fight the terrible practices on this platform. Though it might sound like a good thing on paper, the image you're forming in your head is not as bright as you make it to be. Up until now, I've mainly talked about the apathetic Lobotomites, and there's a reason for that. They are more common if we're going off stats here. I mean, if you look at the player count of these Slop games, and the views of real Grow Garden YouTubers that amounts to thousands, even millions of views, it's safe to say that the apathetic consumers are the majority. They continue to play Slop and watch YouTube videos regarding Slop and enjoy the fuck out of it. Most of them are children or just have an addiction. However, that doesn't stop me from calling out the equally as problematic saints of Roblox. They might appear to be on the side of fighting for the quality of games, but they really aren't. They think they're doing the world a favor by bullying 10-year-olds off the internet. Yeah, Roblox Slop games may be a problem for the future generation of kids, but don't harass them. It makes you look just as stupid as them. No, it makes you just as stupid as them. Twitter is another good example of the saints of justice. They care too much about things. They will examine and microanalyze photos just to get dirt on someone from the tiniest things that happened years ago. Caring too much can make you just as unstable. You pry too far into things. However, being apathetic makes you lose critical thought and become the primary target for manipulation. We need a balance between both. Call out bad things, ignore not so bad things. Wow, common sense, right? To sum up what I'm yapping about in simple terms, it's never okay to lean too far into apathy or proactivity. Now, let's backtrack. The debate between altruism and egoism. I believe the answer is to be both. As I said earlier, there needs to be a balance. Yes, me making videos and talking about Grow Garden not only expresses my negative opinion on the game, but also gives me views. That's my selfish drive, my ego. However, the reason I make these videos isn't only for self-interest, but it's to educate, entertain, and relate to my audience and build a broad community. And most importantly, fight for the quality of art, because video games are art. It's just as Arcane says, you can still be a good person while being satisfied yourself, and I believe I can still fight for the quality of Roblox games while not being an asshole about it. If you see bullshit, call it out, don't ignore it. You can play Grow Garden despite all the backlash, but please, just acknowledge and call these shitty gambling practices out. Additionally, acknowledge that this game is a low-effort engagement farm and cash grab. Twisting reality akin to what we believe is how we fall into pipelines. With no nuance to topics, we lose our individual voices. So instead of following the masses or vibes, put yourself in a different perspective. Are these Roblox Slop games good for the average audience? The average audience being children. Do they manipulate children? Are there gateways to gambling in this game? And chances are, if you answer yes to either of those questions, those games are bad, with little room for counter-arguments. Don't be ignorant to the truth. Just grow a fucking spine, man. And I hate using that phrase, because there's a negative stigma attached to phrases meant to toughen up people. Toxic masculinity is very prominent, but it's gotten to a point where we're in the most sensitive point in the internet. We don't live on the internet. Your favorite game or show or whatever it is, getting insulted isn't the end of the world. Someone had to say it. If you feel the need to fight over a fucking Roblox game, please, touch some grass. You're pathetic. Get better. Go outside. Get a hobby. I'm not insulting you as a person, I'm insulting your mindset. Even if you're too deep into the addiction pipeline, you can still fight for better games. Take it from the guy who plays Soul Burst 2. That game is a mess nowadays, an AFK simulator at times, but I still love it, even with all its flaws, because it has a lot of those. I look at the game with tinted sunglasses because it was my childhood, but when discussing whether the game has predatory practices or not, I can't ignore the obvious. I'm not apathetic, I'm not stupid, and being any of the sort shouldn't be normalized. The normalization of stupidity and apathy is what allows companies like Do Big, which owns Grow Garden, to bend you over like your cellmate. I know that's a disgusting way of putting it, but that's 100% accurate. The second you stop having a spine and turn your pea-sized brain off is the second you'll become dependent on the feces of these Roblox corpos and bad actors. Once again, playing Roblox slop games isn't a profit of itself. Turning your brain off is. I'd kill to have a logical debate with a GAG player if they're respectful and have critical thought. I care more so about your thought process than the opinion you have. However, don't mistake facts for opinions. Being able to spend in-game currency backed by real cash for gacha pulls in a video game is gambling. Period. Robux cost money. It should be treated as such. And even without Robux, exposing children to addictive dopamine RNG slop fries their brains. Real gamblers have the same addiction problem. They are addicted to winning, just as these kids are addicted to the gambling and the dopamine they get from winning rewards in these experiences. The only thing that these non-games teach children is that if you get lucky, you'll feel good. It's a feel-good experience. No lesson, no effort required, just luck and gambling. And if you think this is okay, go fuck yourself. I hope you never have kids. The fact that I care more for your non-existent children than you do for your own is saying something. Here's a statement. Children shouldn't be exposed to gambling mechanics in your game, period. And at the very least, if they're going to be exposed to those things, give them a quality experience alongside of it, instead of molesting the dopamine receptors and gaslighting them into thinking the game's actually good because they're showered with mutations and rewards that aren't actually rare. Just because the number goes up doesn't mean the game is good. It makes you feel good, but it isn't good. That's what they want you to think, to give up your free will and become one of their lobotomites. I think Roblox lobotomy syndrome is a direct result of real video games being categorized in the same spectrum as dopamine child casinos. A lot of gamers have fought against the old generation to prove that video games can be helpful to children, and they were kind of right. Hand-eye coordination, decision-making, strategy, morals, and determination. Yes, the word choice I use is very intended. These are all things that video games can teach us with just a few lines of code. Simple games, complex games, story-driven games, party games. Video games are an art form. They are an interactive piece of media. Their most defining traits consist of being engaging and in control. But on Roblox, we don't do that. The most popular games on this platform, like Grow Garden, Pet Cylinder, Souls RNG, and the list continues, literally take away the meaning of the video game medium. You are not engaged, you are addicted to the dopamine of rare things you obtain. And you aren't in control, because it's up to the game to decide whether you get something or not. So by all means, these aren't fucking games. You're probably in denial, or maybe you genuinely have a good argument for believing otherwise. I'm actually kind of glad Roblox started calling their games experiences, because most of them aren't games anymore. They are casinos for children wearing the facade of a game that is not actually there. Though before I end off this video, I'm going to give irrefutable evidence of predatory game design. People told me to prove it in the last video, so I'm going to do just that. Entry 1, Grow a Garden. Limited time bundles that require Robux to purchase. The shop refreshing to keep FOMO active, to keep their players coming back. The commonality of mutation to give dopamine to new players who don't know any better. The Discord server pings you when a certain fruit is in stock. The gameplay is a nothing burger, which results in children not appreciating the value of hard work and ignoring what real gardening takes to do. Great lesson. Entry 2, Big Games. Oversaturated menus to lure in children. More child casinos. What a fucking surprise. The continuous creation of new games to make players pay for the new game passes. And let's not forget the fact that they copied pretty much every other genre of slop. They copied Souls RNG, Grow a Garden, and Steal a Brain Rot, which I'll probably make a separate video on later. Entry 3, Anime games in general. They use the IP of famous anime to lure in children and casual fans. By the way, using the IP of characters you do not own is fucking illegal. Did nobody learn anything from Pokemon Brick Bronze's deletion? I guess not. Either way, I don't like corporations being strict to their IP either, but when you're profiting off of it, I think you deserve to have your game taken down or you should just get sued. Moving on though. The games have gacha systems. The best things are typically the rarest and usually give you an advantage over other players. This system, in turn, encourages the players of these games to gamble until they get the rarest thing. I don't have to explain why that's bad. If you can't put 2 and 2 together, I guess you might want to restart the video. You get the point. Inevitably, someone in the comment section is gonna say something stupid. It's the internet after all, I expect this. If you see one of those comments, please, you don't have to harass them or belittle them. Just don't do it. They might be stupid, but they are human. The moral of the story is though, don't defend child casinos. No, don't defend anything in general. Everyone and everything is up for scrutiny.
including me. So we have to navigate and determine the severity of each topic. Child casinos are just a problem. And as much as I want to harp on how these lobotomites manage to justify borderline illegal practices, there's not much else you can say to get to these people. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I'm Alpha from Not So On TV, and I'm gonna finish Persona 5. Probably. Probably not. I'm out of here.